The Harvey Weinstein scandal, Hollywood's darkest secret exposed. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a Hollywood scandal so massive, so twisted, and so downright insane that it didn't just rock the entertainment world. It flipped it upside down and shook out every dirty secret it could find. We're talking about Harvey Weinstein, the larger-than-life movie mogul, whose name once meant power, prestige, and Oscars galore, but now it's synonymous with disgrace, downfall, and a cultural earthquake that's still sending aftershocks. This is going to be a deep dive, a wild ride through one of the darkest chapters in Tinseltown history. So buckle up, grab your favorite snack, hit that like button, and let's get into it. Oh, and if you're new around here, smash that subscribe button. We've got a lot to unpack, and trust me, you won't want to miss a second of this. Who was Harvey Weinstein? The rise of a Hollywood titan. So who was this guy before the world turned against him? Let's set the scene. Harvey Weinstein was born on March 19, 1952 in Queens, New York. Not exactly the glitzy Hollywood hills, right? He grew up in a modest Jewish family, the son of a demon cutter named Max and a receptionist named Miriam. With his younger brother Bob, he started out small, promoting rock concerts in Buffalo in the 70s. But Harvey had bigger dreams, movie-sized dreams. In 1979, the brothers scraped together some cash and founded Miramax, a tiny film distribution company named after their parents. It was scrappy, it was indie, and it was the start of something huge. Fast forward to the 90s, and Miramax is a powerhouse. Harvey's got a knack for spotting winners. Think The Crying Game, Pulp Fiction, Good Will Hunting, Shakespeare in Love. These aren't just movies, they're cultural landmarks, racking up Oscars left and right. By the early 2000s, he's a kingmaker. Directors bow to him, actors beg for his approval, and his annual pre-Oscar parties are the hottest ticket in town. Champagne flowing, stars like Brad Pitt and Meryl Streep mingling under his watchful eye. He's loud, he's brash, he's intimidating as hell. 6 foot something with a temper that could clear a room. If Harvey said yes to your project, you were set for life. If he said no, well, you might as well pack your bags and head back to wherever you came from. But here's where it gets murky. Even in those golden years, there were whispers, little hints that something wasn't right. People talked about his meetings with young actresses, his aggressive vibe, the way staffers seemed to vanish after working for him. No one dared call it out, though. Why? Because Harvey wasn't just a producer, he was a machine. A one-man empire with the power to make or break careers with a single phone call. He was untouchable, or so it seemed. The whispers turned to warnings, decades of red flags. Now let's peel back the layers, because this scandal didn't come out of nowhere. It was brewing for decades. Picture this. It's the 90s, Miramax is riding high, and Harvey's a legend. But behind the scenes, people are starting to notice things. Take Gwyneth Paltrow. She's young, talented, and on her way to becoming a star with Harvey's help. In 1998, she goes on Late Show with David Letterman and drops a casual bombshell. She's laughing, but she says, "Harvey Weinstein makes me do things I don't want to do." The crowd chuckles. Letterman moves on, and no one blinks. Looking back, that was a neon sign we all missed. Then there's Ashley Judd. In 2015, she sits down with Variety and tells a story that sends chills down your spine. She says a big producer, unnamed at the time, invited her to his hotel room for a meeting. She gets there and he's in a bathrobe, asking for a massage, suggesting she watch him shower. She says no, bolts, and suddenly her phone stops ringing for roles. Everyone in Hollywood knew who she meant, but no one said his name out loud. Why? Fear. Journalists tried to crack the case early. Back in 2004, Sharon Waxman from the New York Times had a story ready to go. Interviews with women who'd been paid to keep quiet, details of creepy encounters. But it never saw daylight. Rumor has it Harvey leaned on big names like Matt Damon and Russell Crowe to squash it. The piece got gutted, and Waxman later said she was devastated. There were other close calls too. British reporter Rebecca Traister wrote about his bullying in 2000, but the darker stuff stayed buried. And it wasn't just rumors. Harvey had a system. Assistants signed ironclad NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, before they even got through the door. Some got payouts to disappear, tens of thousands of dollars to forget what they'd seen. Actresses who spoke up, they were blacklisted. Their careers stalled while Harvey kept winning Oscars. One former Miramax employee later said, "It was like working for a dictator or the mafia. He'd scream, he'd threaten, he'd charm when he had to. For 30 years, he played the game perfectly, but every game has an end, and his was coming fast." The bombshell drops, October 2017. Changes everything. Okay, hold on to your seats, because here's where it all explodes. October 5th, 2010, the New York Times drops a story that hits like a nuclear bomb. The headline? Harvey Weinstein paid off sexual harassment accusers for decades. Reporters Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey spent months digging, and they've got the goods. Names, dates, settlements. Ashley Judd's one of the first to go on record. She recounts that hotel room nightmare from the 90s, how he tried to coerce her, how she escaped. Other women back her up. Some say he'd call them to his suite at the Peninsula Beverly Hills, show up in a bathrobe, and push for massages or worse. The article reveals at least 8 settlements, cash handed over to silence victims, some as far back as 1990. 8. But it doesn't stop there. 5 days later, October 10th, Ronan Farrow, yeah, the guy with his own Hollywood baggage as Mia Farrow's son, drops an even bigger bombshell in The New Yorker. He's got stories from actresses like Asia Argento and Lucia Evans, and they're not just about harassment. These are allegations of straight-up assault. Argento says Harvey forced himself on her in 1997 at a hotel in France. Evans claims he assaulted her in 2004. Then Farrow plays his ace, audio from a 2015 NYPD sting operation. Model Ambra Batalana Gutierrez wore a wire after reporting him. You hear Harvey's voice, smug, entitled, saying, "Come on, don't ruin your friendship with me. I'm used to this." It's haunting and it's undeniable. The world loses it. Within days, more women step forward. Rose McGowan, who'd been hinting at this for years. Angelina Jolie, who says she warned people about him. Gwyneth Paltrow, who admits he tried it with her too. Lupita Nyong'o writes a gut-wrenching piece about dodging his advances. By November, over 80 women have spoken out. Actresses, assistants, random hotel staffers. 80. Harvey's response is a train wreck. He releases a statement saying, "I came of age in the 60s and 70s, when all the rules about behavior were different." Oh, come on, man, that's your defense? The internet rips him apart, and the dominoes start tumbling. The empire falls, chaos, collapse, and consequences. So what happens when the mask is off? Total chaos. October 8, 2017, just 3 days after the Times story, the Weinstein Company board fires him. Done. His own company, the one he built from nothing, cuts him loose. His wife, Georgina Chapman, founder of the fashion label Marchesa, announces she's leaving him and taking their 2 kids. Bam, personal life imploded. Then the Academy of Motion Picture, Arts and Sciences, yep, the Oscar people, votes to expel him. That's only happened once before to Roman Polanski. It's a public shaming on a level we've rarely seen. Hollywood scrambles. Stars who'd thanked him in acceptance speeches, Meryl Streep, Ben Affleck, Quentin Tarantino, they're suddenly in damage control. Meryl says, "I didn't know about these offenses. I thought he was just obnoxious." Affleck, who'd starred in Miramax hits, tweets his disgust, but gets called out when his own past gets dredged up. Tarantino's the most honest. He admits he'd heard stories but didn't dig deeper and says he's ashamed. The hypocrisy's glaring, and fans aren't letting it slide. The Weinstein Company? It's a sinking ship. By March 2018, it files for bankruptcy, $500 million in debt, no buyers, just a rotting husk of what it once was. Harvey's films, classics he had bragged about, become toxic. Studios pull them from awards contention. Streaming platforms bury them. And then the law comes knocking, May 25th, 2018. He turns himself in to the NYPD, charged with rape, criminal sexual acts, the works. The perp walks a spectacle, him in cuffs, hunched over, a shadow of the guy who once owned red carpets. The trial drags on. His team calls it a witch hunt, claims the women consented or lied. But in February 2020, the verdict lands guilty, 23 years in prison. He's shipped off to Rikers Island, later moved to Wendy Correctional Facility, whining about his health the whole way. The king's crown isn't just gone, it's melted down and thrown in the trash. Me Too, a revolution born from the ashes. But this isn't just Harvey's story, it's the spark that lit a fire. October 15, 2017, Alyssa Milano tweets, "If you've been sexually harassed or assaulted, write #MeToo." It's a phrase activist Tarana Burke created back in 2006 to help survivors. But now, it's a global tidal wave. Within hours, millions post, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, light up with stories. It's not just Hollywood. It's teachers, CEOs, politicians, your neighbor's creepy boss. The hashtag racks up 12 million uses in the first week alone. Other big names start falling like flies. Kevin Spacey, out of House of Cards after assault claims. Louis C.K., comedy career tanked after admitting to misconduct. Matt Lauer, fired from Today overnight. Studios freak out, hiring investigators, rewriting contracts, preaching zero tolerance. The Screen Actors Guild sets up hotlines. Time's Up launches to fund legal battles for victims. Survivors finally feel heard, some for the first time in decades. But it's not all rosy. Critics say #MeToo went too far. People like Al Franken lose jobs over accusations with no trial. Others argue it's not enough. Execs still run the show, just quieter now. Look at the women who started it. Rose McGowan. She'd been screaming about Harvey since the 90s, got called unstable, even institutionalized once. Now she's a warrior, wrote Brave, tours the world demanding change. Asia Argento keeps making films, turning pain into art. Lupita Nyong'o's op-ed in The Times is a masterclass in courage. She details every slimy move Harvey tried. Did it fix everything? No, but it cracked the system wide open. And that's a start. Closing. What's left in 2025 and beyond? And that's the Harvey Weinstein saga, folks. 30 minutes of drama, downfall, and defiance. As of March 25, 2025, he's still in a New York prison, serving his 23 years, filing appeals that go nowhere. His company's a memory, his legacy's a warning. #MeToo still alive, pushing boundaries. But Hollywood? It's still Hollywood, glossy on top, messy underneath. What do you think, real change or just a shiny new PR campaign? Drop your hot takes in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe for more wild rides, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.